In Western media, they keep talking about the Azovstal situation in the city of Mariupol as if it were an evacuation. They keep saying, that the soldiers there who were all boxed in, yeah, they've been evacuated. Well, if the definition of the word evacuation has been modified to mean the word surrender, then yeah, that would be accurate. It's so funny. In the Western media, they are just blatantly lying. I mean, just blatantly lying. They are saying that what happened in Azovstal, whereby all of these defenders who had been holed up for something like a month already, or a little bit longer perhaps, that they finally were evacuated. They surrendered. 3-4 days ago, a little group of 10 men came out of the allegedly 2,000 men who are locked down there in the bowels of this facility, and they came out with a white flag, and these 10 represented the others who were severely wounded and who were running out of food and water, and they negotiated the terms of their surrender, and there were no terms. It was just basically, surrender. I mean, that's it. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at these guys, but I mean, actually, I'm kind of laughing because it's a good thing that these men surrendered and will live and not die in the bowels of this horrible place for no purpose. And there was no purpose anymore to this for over a month because the Russian forces had captured Mariupol. Most people in the West don't seem to know that in Mariupol, reconstruction has already begun. The schools have reopened. Yeah, life is getting back to normal in Mariupol. The only place that was sort of like boxed in was the Azovstal steelworks facility. And the thing is, the Russians did not consider that dangerous because the few exits were all guarded. And so they moved all the troops that they had there to the Donbass front weeks ago. Those men at Azovstal weren't doing anything other than, quite frankly, wasting everybody's time and succumbing to gangrene and sepsis and all the other typical infections that happen to soldiers who are not looked after with medical attention. See, the whole thing was just a farce. And the only people who suffered, quite frankly, were the Azovstal, Azov battalion people, all these neo-Nazis who were down there. And that's the issue. See, these people, some of them are just regular soldiers. Some of them were actually civilians being used as human shields. Some of them were civilians who were neo-Nazis and were with the Azov battalion people. And the others were Azov battalion neo-Nazis. And the way that you can tell whether they're a neo-Nazi or not is to just look at their tattoos. Yeah. Because the Azov people, the neo-Nazis, they have this habit of putting swastikas on their bodies in, with tattoos and such. Mm-hmm. And so the Russians, what did they do to this first group of 10 who came out? They told them, yeah, sure, we'll accept your surrender, and these are the terms, and this is what you're going to do, and this is how your men are going to come out. And that's what they've been doing. And it's such a flood that the Russians apparently are having a bit of an issue of where to hold all these people. Not a serious issue, but it's become, there are so many. And the thing is, see, the Russians, as I have understood it from a lot of different Telegram channels that are talking about this, both Russian and Ukrainian, that when the people from Azovstal emerge, the Russians, first of all, search them very thoroughly, and then strip search them to find any tattoos on them, the neo-Nazi tattoos. And it's not, a full-on strip search like a TSA strip search for drugs. No, it's just, pull up your shirt, let's see your back, let's see what you have, pull down your shirt so I can see, your shoulders if you have something, or raise up your thing, yeah, that kind of thing, that kind of search, but they do it to everyone. And this is the filtration process, whereby if you're just a regular guy, not neo-Nazi, you go one way. And if you have neo-Nazi tattoos, you go another way. And all these people are being photographed, fingerprinted. They want to know who all of them are because the word is that they're planning on having trials against those who have committed human rights atrocities. And there are a lot of these people in Azovstal. But in the West, they're calling them freedom fighters. In the West, they're calling these goons, these thugs, these murderers, many of them. murderers and thieves. Because what do you think they were doing in Mariupol before this special military operation? They were abusing the populace, thieving, being criminals, because that's what they are. They're not even part of the regular army. They're part of the Ministry of the Interior of the Zelensky regime. And they operated with impunity in Mariupol because they considered everybody in Mariupol a Russian orc. And so these scumbags would abuse the population, steal from them, rape them, murder them. This happened. And the Russians, and especially the local people there, they want a measure of justice. And I certainly don't blame them. But in the West, they're calling these criminals freedom fighters. And they're calling what they did an evacuation. They said that this evacuation was ordered by Kiev and that this operation is successful. The level of bullshit, to quote a very famous line that I've quoted before, the bullshit piles up so fast you need wings to stay above it. Yeah, it was true in Apocalypse Now in Vietnam, and it's true today. This kind of bullshit is just insane. But the people in the West believe it, and more to the point, the people in Ukraine, civilians, a lot of them believe it. Not all, a lot. But that's the point of this propaganda. The point of this propaganda is to keep the morale up of the people in Ukraine, because the Zelensky regime is realizing that the morale is crumbling. And the propaganda, the bullshit, the lies that are being spread on television, I mean, I can see it here in Ukraine. I can't understand what they're saying because I don't speak Ukraine, but I can feel the vibe of it. It's bullshit. And you can feel the vibe of bullshit, and you can feel how they're trying to be extra cheerful about how things are really working out, but they're not. They're calling it an evacuation when it was a surrender. They're calling it a victory when it was a loss.